Well. The Dallas Cowboys are finally playing again this Monday night, November the 17th. And I don't know about y'all, but I am so excited to see this team back on the field. I mean, so many things have went on in this bye week. It's like it's been a month since the Cowboys played. Marshawn Kneeland passes away. The Cowboys get Williams and Wilson. Overshown and Revel Jr. are coming back. So many things are just happening, and it just seemed like it's been a month. Well, I think one of the best therapies for the Cowboys team is to get back on the football field. But as they get back on the football field, all eyes are going to be on Matt Eberflus. Because before he didn't have any help, but now he's got some help. And so everybody is saying it's do or die. Well, a couple of NFL Hall of Fame legends had something to say about Matt Eberflus. And I think every Cowboys fan needs to hear what Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman said about Matt Eberflus. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this video, don't forget at the end to please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And if you haven't become a channel member or subscriber yet, please do. We have a lot of great things coming up the rest of this season. Now let's talk facts. Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith was an incredible running back for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's the best running back to ever do it. And the reason why I think he's the best running back to ever do it is because when you look at the total package of Emmitt Smith, he was incredible. Off the field, on the field, not the fastest, not the biggest, not the most elusive. But when you watched him on the field, he looked like he was all of those things and more. Because I can remember one time Emmitt said that what separates you from everyone else is what's in your heart. And Emmitt Smith had the biggest of hearts. And so, you know, he's three-time Super Bowl winner with the Dallas Cowboys, all-time leading rusher in NFL history, Hall of Famer. And anytime I hear these Hall of Famers talk, especially when it pertains to the Cowboys, I'm listening. Don't mean I agree, don't mean I say do everything they say to do, but I'm listening. Well, Emmitt Smith had some very interesting things to say about one Matt Eberflus. Let's look over here on Sportskeeda. Says here, Dallas Cowboys legend Emmitt Smith didn't mince words when discussing the current state of the team. While the offense performs just fine, the defense leaves a lot to be desired, with fans, analysts, and former players growing frustrated with the lack of stops from their D, with many blaming defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus for these performances. Now, let me say this before I read the rest of this. The offense has been fine for the first 6 games. This offense the last 2 games has looked anything but fine. And whether we say the Cowboys can't block or they're getting behind, you don't get those excuses. Got all kinds of weapons on offense. Figure it out the same way people have been saying about Matt Eberflus. Figure it out. Cowboys offense got to get back on track too. But let's listen to continue to see what he says about the defense. During a conversation with Cowboys Wire, Smith was strikingly critical of his former team. Speaking of the defense, the 3-time Super Bowl champion noted that it hasn't been the same in the last couple of years, and when Dan Quinn and Mike Zimmer were in charge of the unit. Now let's get a little bit of balance here. Dan Quinn's defenses were built to play with a lead. They looked better than they actually were. They could get to the quarterback. They could cause turnovers. They could play with leads. Problem is, those defenses that Dan Quinn had were not built to play from behind. And those defenses that he had could not stop the run. Some of that was personnel. When we think about Mike Zimmer, well, Mike Zimmer struggled also last year up until about Thanksgiving. I still remember it like yesterday that Michael Parsons said, "We finally got the defense." At Thanksgiving. And they look better down the stretch. But understand this, People got to understand this about Mike Zimmer's defense. It was so bad early on that as time went on, it just looked better bad. It was still bad. It just looked better bad. And the thing you got to give Dan Quinn, when Jerry wouldn't give Dan Quinn the players, Dan Quinn did the best with what he had. Mike Zimmer did the best with what he had. I still say that Mozzie Smith looked the best that he looked with the Cowboys under Mike Zimmer. The problem with Matt Eberflus, and I think this is one of the main problems, he has seemed very reluctant to make any kind of adjustments for the level of talent that he has. It seemed like rather than Matt Eberflus saying, I'm going to do the best with what I have, Matt Eberflus was saying, no, I'm going to show you that what I have can't run my system and isn't good enough for my system. And so it's only been over the last 2 games where they've tried to make all of these adjustments, but it still looks bad. And some of this has to be blamed on the players, even though Emmitt Smith is saying something different. Emmitt says, our defense does not look anything like our previous 2 or 3 years ago defense, Smith said, completely different. Emmitt Smith broke down what he's saying from the defense, directly pointing at Eberflus for failing to prepare his players. Man, do we look like we are completely lost? The Hall of Famer offered. I am befuddled at all of the things that are going wrong on the defensive side of the ball. We look very basic and very fundamental and very amateurish, if you will. Nothing sexy about it. And still the mistakes are being made, which is to me a sign of poor coaching defensively. I'll have something to say about this in a moment. It says numbers show Emmitt Smith is right. The Cowboys are second to last in both yards and points allowed per game this season. Only 5 teams have fewer interceptions. 4, and only 4 have fewer takeaways. 7 than Dallas this campaign. Following Dan Quinn's 3-year tenure as defensive coordinator, the Cowboys haven't been the same on defense. Exactly. Says the departures of Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Jordan Lewis played a role in their decreased level, and their defensive coordinator hasn't been able to bring the best out of the unit. Brian Schottenheimer had already been with this team, had a lot of continuity. We throw Matt Eberflus in on this defense. I'm not making excuses, I'm stating facts. We bring in Matt Eberflus in on this team. He's the 3rd defensive coordinator in 3 years. He has a lot of players left over from the Dan Quinn's defense. I mean, I see where people can be perturbed at Matt Eberflus or even angry, because I don't fault him for the fact that the defense is not successful. But what I do fault Matt Eberflus for is, as I said previously, it doesn't seem like he was trying to be successful with what he had, but rather he was trying to show that I can't be successful with what I have. And that's a huge difference. But Troy Aikman has a different opinion from Emmitt Smith on Matt Eberflus, and as you can tell, I do too. Troy Aikman says in another article on Sportskeeda, Troy Aikman makes his thoughts clear on Matt Eberflus amid calls to fire the defensive coordinator. This was on November the 5th. Dallas Cowboys legend Troy Aikman shared his assessment of the team's defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, before the Cowboys' Week 9 showdown against the Arizona Cardinals on Monday. Aikman said Eberflus is doing a good job, but suggested the team's lack of execution has been a source of frustration. Now, I buy these words that Troy's saying. He said Eberflus is a good defensive coordinator. He didn't say he was great. He said he's a good defensive coordinator. Aikman said on 105.3 The Fan, he's proven that over the years. The frustrating thing, I think, for him and for the organization in general is that he's called things to keep from giving up certain plays, and yet they are giving up those exact plays. Exactly. Eberflus, again, I think he's been saying these guys can't play in my system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just all in the beginning, it was like 97%, 96%, 95% zone. He was doing that to say, well, I gotta protect the back end. I gotta protect the team from being scored on, and the team was getting scored on at an alarming rate. I think two things can be true. Yep, some of this is Matt Eberflus. I don't think Matt Eberflus is terrible, but I questioned this when they hired him because I understand these bend don't break defenses. The thing that people don't talk about these bend don't break defenses, they require super studs on the field. High IQ, athletic, read and react guys who can just go get it. And you at least need one of those type of players in every position group on the defense. And if you don't, that defense looks like, and I don't know if it looks as bad as what the Cowboys have looked, but it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad. Troy said, so it hasn't been from a lack of calling the right scheme. It's just been really more than anything a lack of execution. Says here the Cowboys hired Matt Eberflus in January. This is his second stint with the franchise following his previous role as linebackers coach and passing game coordinator from 2011 to 2017. Eberflus finds himself in the hot seat after the Cowboys' defensive struggles this season. After 8 weeks, they rank as the 31st worst team in the NFL on defense, just behind the Bengals, who are dead last. Last week's 44-24 loss to the Denver Broncos marked their second game of the season where Eberflus' defense allowed 40-plus points. Yeah, it's been bad. And again, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's been Matt Eberflus proving these guys can't play in his system. But it's also been Eberflus not being willing to work with what he has. And that's why it has looked so awful up until this point. And we got to admit this, and Cowboys fans don't want to admit the obvious. Well, I'm going to be Captain Obvious. Man, the Cowboys' talent level on defense, man, it's not good. They're getting there now, but before, you think about this. All the Cowboys had on defense previously was Micah Parsons. They let go of DeMarcus Lawrence, who was having a great year over there in Seattle. They let go of Jordan Lewis, who's having a great year over there with the Jags. Trayvon Diggs just hasn't been the same because he's always injured. I mean, DeMario Overshown injured over the last 2 years. When you think about the talent that the Cowboys do have on defense, it's been injured or it's gone. Deron Bland was coming off of an injury. The safeties are not, I mean, we just got to admit it. The safeties we have, yeah, they're good in the box, but I don't want safeties who are just good in the box because to me, those are bona fide linebackers. I need safeties that can play in the box and play on the back end. I mean, I'm just adding some balance to this. The Cowboys don't have, or they didn't have the talent level. But now Matt Eberflus, you got Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson, Overshown is back. Revel Jr. is coming back. Kalen Carson has looked good. Safety, I don't care what we say. The safety, he's going to have to really work with that. I just don't know what else to tell us on that. But now all eyes are on Matt Eberflus. And I don't think he's on the hottest of hot seats right now. But I do think the Cowboys just turned the flame on. They just turned the flame on. And I believe the Cowboys are going to want to see results tonight. Jerry and Steven are going to want to see results tonight. And I know Cowboy fans, boy, we are chomping at the bits. We want to see results tonight. And we want to see them explode over the next 2 games versus the Eagles and the Chiefs after watching them yesterday are very beatable. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all tell me what you think. I don't think Matt Eberflus is on the hot seat the way the fans think. But like I said, I think the flame has been turned on. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Are you ready just to give up on Matt Eberflus? Tell me what you think. If he gets better, where are you now? What if he looks extremely good for the rest of the season? Do you want to keep him? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Prayers up for the Nealon family and the Dallas Cowboys organization. Let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.